Hi there, I'm Speaker, and this is BT, but we'll get to him shortly. Hirohiko Araki is one of the greatest artists to ever do it. Having worked in the manga industry for over 40 years now, he's created some of the most bafflingly creative, silly, and testosterone-inducing stories ever, each spun up by his insane imagination. There is a lot to love about his brand of storytelling, from an undying commitment to absurdity, kick-ass fight scenes, or the public admiration of like the greatest rock music ever made. But before JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Hirohiko Araki had prototyped a number of short comics throughout the late 70s and 80s. They each vary in tone and quality, but my favorite among them was his first ever in Weekly Shonen Jump. A little one-shot tucked away in the pages of Gorgeous Irene. BT, the Wicked Boy. It would later develop into Cool Shock BT and run for 10 chapters. Being the first manga that Araki credits himself instead of using a pseudonym, it follows the enigmatic trickster BT and his friend Koichi as strange happenings occur throughout their town. And it's usually BT's fault. Trust me, you are not ready for what was going through Araki's brain during this. This manga goes to some crazy places, man, and it's one whose tone will feel awfully familiar to fans of JoJo. However, it also mixes that absurd nature with a slice-of-life tone that Araki wouldn't try again for another 20 years. It remains one of Araki's weirdest works to date, while also just being a chill manga about two boys just hanging out. BT will be hanging out with his friend when literal actual Adolf Hitler will show up in the 1980s, and the chapter ends with the characters going, "Oh man, life sure is weird. What is with Araki and those Nazis, man?" But I really gotta come clean here. I'm not sure I actually have anything interesting to say about Cool Shock BT. I mean, listen, I really appreciate you being here to talk about this and everything, but you can only really get 6 chapters of this manga online. There isn't a whole lot to say. There's no grand narrative being told here beyond surface level morals. It's not even really about anything. Cool Shock BT didn't set the world on fire back in the day, and still, nobody cares. It's not even in print over here in the West, so why make this video? Listen, I just really like this boy. I like his tricks, I like his schemes, I like his face. I like it all. He's quiet, but he still has some spunk. You can tell he was a massive inspiration for the characters of Dio and Joseph Joestar, especially his design and Dio. I mean, come on, look at this. He's the kind of Dio that we all wish was. You know, kind of a well-meaning but devious blonde kid. We love that. And we love BT here too. The main character relies on a lot of tricks and what I like to call BT bullshit to get away with what he does. Not too dissimilar to the previously mentioned Joseph Joestar, who was able to fling 3 pieces of spaghetti across an entire dining room, just because Caesar said something cringe. Another reason I absolutely love Cool Shock BT is the extremely cute art style. Look at this kid. Look at him. Now look at him. And her. And him. This art is clearly a big stepping stone in Araki learning to find his style for his entry into the manga industry. You can see a much larger emphasis on heightened expressions and softer, rounder lines, rather than his later focus on intense anatomy that would later define his style. It's a much different approach to art for comics, and while I absolutely love the JoJo's art style, the lighter comic style lends itself very well to the comedic antics of this story. Some of these character designs are a strange sight to behold. While reading, I was really reminded of how much of a departure early JoJo's art is from this stuff, or even his more contemporary art that doesn't have huge burly men, but instead boys that actually look their age. Going back really changed my perspective to see how heavily Araki tampered with his art style in such a short span of time. Barely 3 years later, he would begin serializing Phantom Blood, the first part of JoJo, and it looks like 2 completely different artists cracked these stories. Crazy stuff. But the story doesn't actually end after a measly 6 chapters. There is no great conclusion to draw to in Cool Shock BT, but it has seen a bit of a cultural revival in Japan in the last few years with a short couple of one-shot revivals. BT Reboot, Cool Shock Guy BT, and Old BT are each different reboots that were handled by different artists showing BT pulling the same tricks on people at different stages of his life. So we even get the existential threat of aging on our lighthearted manga characters. How pleasant. Much like the main story, there isn't a whole lot to say about these reboots, but it's nice to see I'm not the only one who's kind of weird about these decades-old stories from Araki. Yes, I even like seeing BT on Rohan Kishibe's bookshelf. I'm that kind of guy. Cool Shock BT is kind of slow, it's meandering, and it's not about much of anything. However, I really can't help but be completely charmed by this small cast of weirdos. I've definitely read many more out there manga that reach for greater heights, but something about the small scope and overall meaninglessness of the adventures of this 80s comic star really appealed to me. And maybe you'll check out Cool Shock BT if you liked it. And if you like this video, why not subscribe? It really helps out. And if you want to see more videos about weird manga, why not check out this video here? Ichi the Killer is one of the most exciting and depraved manga I've ever read, so I hope you'll check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll be seeing you again real soon.